What is going on YouTube and y'all squad? This your boy Yakutees. This your review for Love and Marriage DC Season 2. I believe this is episode 8. But whichever episode it is, it will be in the title. So we pick up where we left off at the little girls meeting. And you have Irena asking why is Winter here. Ashley says she's invited because Sherelle is my friend and they are cool. And there will be events that where Sherelle will have Winter there. And I just want us to, I'm sorry. How did I say that? There will be events that Sherelle will invite her to. So I was able to get to a point where we should be able to move on. I want to give all of y'all that opportunity. So Alicia, which I'm just gonna say, I feel like Alicia's doing a whole lot, but Alicia feels that they can be cordial um if Sherelle brings her around, though she doesn't understand why. Joy then says, "I don't understand why either." So then, and I just want to pause here, and I understand they're all adults, you know, and people are going to have conflicts. I really do get tired of seeing um, situations like this on reality TV shows where there's supposed to be a moderator. That person isn't moderating. It's like we're opening up this can, or we're opening up Pandora's box, but we don't have a way to put the cap back on it. So all hell breaks loose and ensues, and then we end up getting nowhere. Not saying they didn't really get anywhere. In essence, they really didn't. But it's like there was no control there, and it was just a whole lot of beep, 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 beep. Which this is why some of us watch the show for the drama, but it will be nice if there's resolution. Anyway, Sherelle says she doesn't have a problem with Winter. She and her husband, so Winter and her husband do music. I told Winter I like to give people a chance to f me over, and then says Joy, you may not understand it, but that's what I do. Now, first off, I understand what she means by giving someone an opportunity to F her over, but I'm not giving you the opportunity to. Now, if you end up effing me over, that's really on me because in order for you to F me over, I got to let you all the way close to the chest. Now, I'm going to give everybody a clean slate. You know what I'm saying? As long as you ain't did somebody that I'm close to, like seriously close to, dirty, then yeah, like, cause even if like somebody I'm cool with don't mess with you, that's not gonna stop me from getting to know you. Like I said, as long as you ain't do them dirty, and it's just some stuff like, nah, I see how you did them, I can't mess with you. Other than that, I ain't got a problem. Hey, like I said, we can hang out. The only thing is, you just gotta work to getting all the way real close to me. But I ain't finna do you bogus or nothing like that. No, but now I'm not finna let you get close enough to screw me over, which is what Sherelle likes to do. And if that is the case, that says to me that either she's too trusting or she just lives for drama. Because if you consistently let people get close enough to where they can screw you over, you are you a masochist? Like, are you glad for punishment? Ain't the point. But for her to say to Joy, but you wouldn't understand that, like, I'm kind of like Joy, even though Joy didn't say nothing, but Joy had to look up and now, how the hell I get in this? I ain't even saying nothing. Like, I'm just sitting here chilling. So Ashley felt the friendship was built on a I hate Ashley train and felt that it was Winter who saw Sherelle out. And I know a lot of people be like, if Ashley and Winter are cordial, why even go this route? But they putting it all on the table, so I'm cool with it. Irena says it doesn't look right. Sherelle replies, I'm talking to Ashley. Sherelle, here's where you messed up at. Even though you were talking to Ashley and Irena piped in, you did not have to address Irena. You could continue to talk to Ashley. And I know some people are like, well, that's rude. No, it's I'm talking to this one person. And when I'm done talking to that one person, then I'll, adjust my vision and talk to somebody else. So that happens. And then Irena says, well, I'm talking to you. It doesn't look right to everybody. So then Joy says to Sherelle, the last time we spoke, you said that you would address Irena. Irena did not convey the message accurately. You two having the convo when y'all did was the wrong place. And truth be told, any convo about that should have been with me. And I didn't like that because that was very nice nasty. Because how are you sitting here trying to address, okay, well, you said you were going to do this, but when you did it, it was the wrong place. So you're scolding her, and you two ain't even cool. I'm like, because again, that could have went left. Luckily, it didn't. Um, Sherelle mentions that she never brought up Joy, which, if I'm not mistaken, I believe she's right. She was like, Irena came to my event and told me what Joy apparently, allegedly said. And that is how all of this, came to be. Um, and then she pretty much said like Irena was being messy. Irena said it wasn't messy, it was. And she says she and Sherelle have so at that point she and Sherelle have a yelling match. Joy has to move Irena one seat to the left because she was pretty much sitting like right next to Irena. And at some point Winter, chimes in and she pretty much points out that hey, we just need to get to a point to where everybody can coexist, especially with them all knowing how they feel about each other. Like we ain't gotta sit here, be besties, but we can be cordial. Winter brought invites to her event, and let's be clear, the only reason that Winter is doing all this because she does want them there. This is being filmed on the show, and because it's a big thing, the more people that's there, then it will be publicized. It will actually make it to the show, especially if there happens to be drama there, right? She says that her song is going to be played, but it's not a diss track. Alicia wants to know, okay, so since this isn't a diss track, does Winter like want to be a gutter Barbie? And she was like, oh, so that's what it is. In essence, saying you only called Irena and Ashley gutter Barbies because you secretly want to be like them. And it's like, no, not really the case. But it's like, because my thing is this: so Ashley and Irena can capitalize off of Gutter Barbie, which they were supposed to, by having paraphernalia. So you mean to tell me that Winter can't capitalize off of by doing a song? Like, you sound crazy. But again, this is one of those where I understand Ashley being 10 toes down for your friend, but let your friend say all that. Because what it seemed like Alicia is more of is the do girl, whereas I'm gonna say all of what I know that Ashley want to say, but I want to say it. It's almost like you on camera time. I really hope that I'm wrong. Anyway, we get Clifton, Joy, and their friend Carmen. So she was on Ready to Love with the two of them. She apparently, I've never watched the show, so I don't know how this goes, but apparently, I guess that she was Clifton's number two. But I guess when she saw that Clifton was more feeling Joy, she, just stepped back. But she became friends with all of them. So cool, whatever. So Clifton, we find out that he has a bone in his back that is pinching the nerve, which I don't know how that feels, but I did have a supervisor that dealt with that and whatnot, and I could just imagine. So I'm like, ooh, and the fact that from what I see, he doesn't show signs of being in pain, so he's doing what a lot of people do, especially me, and I'm only saying it because I'm a dude, so I can speak to it. Where is we going like if we can physically move to where we don't show you that it hurts, we do, but as soon as we get home, close that door, we let all the pain sink in. So it is what it is, and he's going to be having surgery soon. So hopefully all that goes well. Joy gives her, the lowdown on the girls. She says she loves Irena and says that, for whatever, all the girls are fun, but she feels that Alicia is messy. I do too. Believes that if she is messy, of course Ashley has to be messy because oh no, wrong. I'm about to say monkey, monkey do no. What is it? Birds of a feather. Oh, and I had to catch myself. I was like, wait, that's not the one I want to use. And says, Alicia's the sidekick. She has to, watch her back. And then the question is posed by Carmen, who is trying to be the head, BT, BIT. Shout out to Jamie, that's me. And she's like, well, the first things, what's the first letter of the alphabet? And no, I'm not talking about Alicia. I'm not talking about the sidekick. And then Joy lets us know that the Silvers had an event, so this is like a private thing that they had because there's no footage of it. So this wasn't an event that happened, and it wasn't significant enough to where it was a whole scene to even be a flashback. And apparently, did she say Alicia? No, yeah, she said Alicia was there and she was roasting the wig that Sherelle had on. I didn't want to talk about style, nothing like that. I am very, very basic. So again, I really try not to talk about people's fashion, especially the opposite gender. But yeah, that wig was wiggy. But Joy's whole thing is you were at this event with her. You could have said all of this to her face. Facts. But again, understand why it didn't happen. But Joy's whole thing is it would be one thing if you wasn't smiling in this girl's face and then you talking about her behind her back. That's one thing. But you know her and Ashley are cool. So the fact that you got all this to say about somebody that has known, because so obviously Alicia and Ashley have known each other longer. But if I'm not mistaken, Sherelle and Ashley have known each other for at least 10 years. So it's kind of like that's some real shady stuff. Smiling in this woman's face, but you got all this to say behind her back. I'm like, whew. And then also, Joy, you ain't slick because you said this intentionally. So this is gonna come up at the reunion, more than likely. I see you, Joy. And then Carmen tells her, just sit back, watch and listen. Great advice. And then she also said, but you also got to set boundaries. Where if you see this happening, let them know, like, okay, I see y'all doing this, just don't do it to me. Joy's not gonna do that because she's not that confrontational. But I mean that will make for a good scene. What else? So all right, we got Ashley, Quick and the family. Quick had a health scare. He don't tell us about it. And since he has many of them, so he's slowing down to have family night with his family. I believe the assistant is Angela, and I guess the dude is probably like his producer or whatever. Look, don't ask me. But Ashley has house rules, gives the children contracts. Quick says he spoiled them and is having to attempt to recorrect because he doesn't want them to go from being spoiled to entitled. And Quick says to Antonio that, he isn't trying to nitpick, but singles him out and says, but you need to figure out a way to wake up in the morning on time. And my thing is, there's different ways y'all can do that. I mean, there's this invention where it's an alarm clock that's on wheels. Like as soon as that mug goes off, it literally whatever surface it's on, it drives off and it moves around a room, forcing you to have to get out of the bed to grab it and turn it off. And now you're out of the bed. It's all type of stuff you can do. But Ashley did say, she feels that as parents, it still ultimately is their job to get him up. Like it is ultimately their responsibility, and they shouldn't penalize him. But Quick feels differently, and and honestly, what part of it is let's keep it a bug. He's Generation X. I kept saying that Jamie was X, and I really had to think about it. No, I'm sorry. I kept saying that Jamie was a boomer. He's not. He's Generation X. My bad. Because I believe I said that. No, they're Generation X. One thing about Generation X is, their parents, the baby boomers, created latchkey kids, which is Generation X. How do I know? My parents are baby boomers. I'm I'm part of a small group of millennials where I was born to baby boomers, and I'm also a latchkey kid. So a lot of that, stuff that had to be done was done. Like my mom was a working mom. Like she would get up at 5 in the morning and she's leaving out the door around about 7. Now before she left, she did that courtesy wake your up, but she left. And it was I'm expected to get up. And let's be honest, if I wasn't going to school, they was gonna call my mom, and she had a good job, so I didn't want them to call there. But they was gonna call, and of course, if your kid isn't going to school, if I'm not mistaken, that's what truancy. Oh, you as a parent can get in trouble for that. Like it's major consequences. So it's yes, this is. And he keeps saying it's not like he's not a child, he's a teenager, but he's still your child. All right, he's not a baby, but he's still your child. He's like, and Ash is like that. All this starts when he turned 18. I'm sorry, she said graduation. Whatever, but Quick doing too much, if you ask me. Um, so you have Irena, Joy, Ashley. So it's a photo shoot for the wig line. Irena says she's in a time crunch and she's a perfectionist. What this leads me to believe is either this was a last minute thing that she wanted to do for the show, or she came on like this is what I'm going to do, and time got away from her. Because if you're a perfectionist and all this other stuff, it's not to say that time can't get away from you, but especially if you do business, you and your husband, y'all collectively work on real estate and all this other stuff, you would know that in doing something like this is you have the ultimate goal and then you plan backwards on what the major steps are. And then from there, you break it down even further and figure out, okay, what is the latest that I can do this, and probably tack on an extra couple of months, weeks, or years, depending on what the goal is. Like, stop playing. And it also seems like this is more or less just her putting her name on something, because it doesn't seem like she's physically doing anything. But I digress. Um, what else? So they rehashed the girls' event. Irena says she and Sherelle are oil and water. But then she says she doesn't know why Sherelle hangs out with Winter and why Ashley hangs out with Sherelle. That seems to be more your problem, not you two being oil and water. And it's ultimately you don't like Winter. Just say that and stand in it. Joy will not go to Winter's event, which is cool. Again, and I think that's because again, Joy has said she don't mess with Alfred, and nothing that is connected to him, which would be his wife, Sherelle. But then I guess that also extends to Sherelle's friends. So I'm like, okay. So they want Irena to not try to tussle with Sherelle. And Irena says she will if it involves Ashley or Joy, because those are her friends, which is cool. But they're all of y'all grown, and I'm pretty sure they can have. We know Ashley can handle herself. Ashley don't need nobody to speak up for her. Joy, I don't know. I don't know, because Joy seemed a little mute, especially when Sherelle sat down to talk to her. But they ain't none of my business. So now we get Quick, Antonio, Jamie Jr., and Jamie Sr. So they in the hood, Southeast DC. Now Jamie Sr. they told us that counseling has worked for them, and I'm not saying. I hope that it was more than one session. I hope that they, because again, we don't need to see the sessions, but I hope they are still continuing. I hope it wasn't a one and done, and we got what little bit we got, and we just gonna move on, because whatever, not my business. Jamie Jr. has a job. We'll hear more about that in a minute, and their relationship is now on the right path. I hope so. So where they're at is a high crime area. They see blood on the pavement, so they begin to talk. The Quick brings up the contract, and Antonio's like, "Oh well, he's good with signing the contract as long as the money is right." And Quick has to hurry up and autocorrect that. And what he said, I mean, it was valid, but it seemed almost just like, this is starting to, because again, Quick is just like Jamie Sr. Both of them are all about appearances, but again, Quick have been dogging out Jamie Jr. this whole entire season. So now that his son is saying something that they could possibly clown him on, he had to hurry up and autocorrect it, and says to him that it's not about the money, it's about learning responsibility. And Jamie tells Antonio at his age they're chores. At his son's age, they're bills. Not necessarily. I get where he was trying to say. It's the responsibilities behind it, but it's really life skills, just basic stuff. Doing laundry, washing the dishes. Clean up after yourself. I get the principle, but these are more just life skills and whatnot. So Jamie Jr. lets us know that he's a student aide and he works with troubled children. He shared on his second day working there, it was like 30 degrees, and he had on this big jacket and whatnot. Looked up and it was kids showing up in hoodies with their arms, pretty much retracted inside the hoodie, and it's throwing him off. Just like, dang, I live how I live, but look at them. And sometimes it does take you to have to see, especially if you live in a decent life, to see how somebody else is living, to kind of sort of help put things back into perspective. Because Jamie Sr. has said that he has taken his son to the hood many a times, but in this particular instant, it wasn't that kind of shocked him. It was him working and seeing how somebody else is living life compared to him. And even him trying to go after a life that really didn't serve him. And so the fathers pretty much said, "Oh, well, that's their norm. That's what they are used to." And Junior felt a way looking at their lives compared to his, so he's planning a co-drive, which I think is a great thing. Like, if you have the resources and whatnot, and you can give back, I mean, definitely do that. And Quick even told him, "Send me the flyers so I can put it on my IG." And his parents need to do the same thing. And even said, "If you don't meet the quota, whatever's missing, man, I'm gonna match it." Good stuff. Was some of that probably for TV for Quick? Maybe. But regardless, like I appreciate the sentiment, and that is some good stuff. And look with the coats they had on and whatnot. Oh, you know it was cold. So quick, I already said that. And then also quick warning, Junior to let Antonio know how old was he when he started, going down the wrong path essentially. And he said 15. And Junior shares his story and it pretty much a cautionary tale. And it seems as if some of that pierced. You'll never know. But the reality is, and what parents got to realize is, your job isn't to carry your child from the cradle to the grave. Your job isn't even to stop your child from hitting that brick wall. Your job is, if you can, to reduce the impact of them running into it. Because most times you can't stop them. They're going to do what they want to do. You just have to hope that you did right by them and instilled what you could. And hey, sometimes they may not do what you want them to do off rip. They might have to sit here and go through trials and tribulations before it finally dawns on them and the seeds you plant sprouts. You never know. So you have the wig launch prep. This is Irena. One model has canceled. She called Ashley because she needs her to model and needs her to be there by 4:30. Okay. So now we get Winter, Sherelle. No. Yeah, Winter, Sherelle, Alfred, and Alfred's friend Yusha Assad. So they have this podcast, Friends Who Smash, and it's going to be a surprise match made. They didn't tell Winter the topic, and even though Winter was a good sport about it, I probably would have side-eyed you, like, you got me here, you don't tell me what it's for, like, because my thing is, even though they think it's cute, that is like very deceptive to me, but whatever. Um, Let me see. They say that it was destiny. The two of them were brought together because Yusha, his schedule was always, filled and whatnot, and he just so happened to be free the day that they have Winter there. Right. So they talk about dating after divorce. Yusha asked Winter, "What's the difference between the Winter who got divorced the first time and then Winter the second time around?" Because there was a 6-year gap. And she pretty much says, the difference is that she doesn't subscribe to the expectations that are put on her anymore, which is understandable. And then there's some googly eye action going on. Yusha says he's 7 years divorced. It broke him because he's not from DC. So when that divorce happened, he had to pick up the pieces by himself, which is understandable. Granted, there's more to it because I was thinking, why didn't you just go back to where your family was at? But if you try to pick up the pieces there, you probably had a lot of stuff at stake there. I don't know, just thinking out loud. And then they're asking them, well, do y'all want a date? And they're like, what are we in high school, in like grammar school, whatever? Like, check the box. Do you like me? Yes, no, whatever. But we see, based off next episode, that they are going to go on a date. So now it's the wig launch. It seemed very intimate, very, very intimate. So I don't know if this was a soft launch where we're doing this for the show or if this was an actual real thing. But I'll also say you don't need to be in a big event space. I just thought that it seemed very, very cozy. And but for what it's worth, it was cool. Ashley is late. Joy can't come because she was sick. Irena's gonna take her at her word. She invited Sherelle. She says hopefully that wasn't a mistake. Ashley, shows up, but she finds out that she's been replaced. Ashley ain't sweating it. Irena pulls Sherelle to the side after the event and says that she didn't expect the word shady to set her off, but Sherelle says that it did, and says that in her interview that if she was to call Jamie shady, that Irena will probably flip. And I don't think that it was just shady; it was him doing shady business. I think that was the thing because again, you're talking about somebody's business, and if people are hearing, through the streets, through the grapevine, that somebody is real iffy when it comes to business, people are not going to work with them, and of course that affects their bottom line. But she says she just wants to be in a place where they can coexist, and they say they are all good. But again, nothing was resolved. But okay, cool. So now, so the couples are together, and obviously, Ashley's there by herself. And Jamie comes over and tells Irena to get back to work. Now, at first, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, is this just Jamie just trying to create a moment out of thin air since his storyline with his son is over? But then I'm like, no, this seemed like saucy. Jamie, because he been drinking, and says she needs to get back because she's not doing her video content. He doesn't care what they gotta say, which is just like, dude, why you? Because he coming at, even though Alfred's there, that was geared towards the women, which was very, very nasty. And I'm even looking at Alfred just like, you see some of this directed at your wife, and you ain't saying nothing, but ain't none of my business. Um, and then he says, I need 2 hours of your day to make these videos, whether you like it or not. And I was like, oh. And then he says, are you clear? He didn't say, are we clear? Are you clear? And Irana tells him, you can't talk to me like that. But she says it somewhat jokingly because she's used to this type of behavior. Because if this was like a one off, she probably would have had a different reaction. So, let me see. Jamie doesn't want her to let the others gas her up. And let me see, ask her to answer his question. Now, Afro was just like, but you didn't ask her a question. You made a statement. And he's pretty much like, nah, I ain't trying to hear all that, all y'all talking whoop, wop, the bam. Ashley gets so sad because it's just like, because Ashley's thing is this. In essence, you can talk to Raina like that. You can talk to everybody. You ain't talking to me like that. I ain't your wife. Okay, and she's also just like, okay, Jamie been drinking, and when he gets to drinking, he starts, talking crazy. Now he talking to her crazy. Now he talking to the group crazy, and we're going to see this come up next episode, and it's going to be quick to bring it up. So we will see how that goes. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching, but I'll say listening since I gave this to y'all podcast style. I owe y'all Potomac and SWV. If you don't get it tonight, well, if you get anything tonight, it'll be Potomac. If not, you'll get both tomorrow. But if I do Potomac tonight, you'll get the SWV and Escape show tomorrow. So, and also don't forget that the season finale of the Whether You Like It or Not panel will be on Simply Sakina's channel. So make sure you check us out. And with that being said, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will see you all next time. All right, y'all. Peace out.